It all started in Point Pleasant, a town that seemed to be plucked straight out of a storybook. A sleepy little town nestled beside the Ohio River. Folks called it peaceful, a place where everyone knew everyone else and life moved at a slower pace. They didn't know the half of it. My story. It ain't for the faint of heart. The town had its secrets, buried deep beneath its tranquil surface. It's a tale of terror, a brush with something inhuman. The kind of story that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world. I was working the night shift at the chemical plant, same as always. The plant was the lifeblood of the town, providing jobs and stability. The air hung heavy, thick with the smell of sulfur and something else. Metallic, like blood. It was a scent that clung to your clothes, your skin, your very soul. The old boys called it the West Virginia stench. I just called it home. It was a place where the past and present seemed to blur together, where the line between reality and nightmare was thin. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows of the guard shack. It was a sound that could send chills down your spine, even on the warmest of nights. It was the kind of wind that seemed to carry whispers, secrets on the breeze. Whispers of things long forgotten, of shadows that lurked just out of sight. That's when I saw it. A shadow, darker than the night itself, flitting across the edge of the woods. It moved with an unnatural grace, a silent predator in the darkness. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Was it a trick of the light, a figment of my imagination? Or was it something far more sinister? I knew then that Point Pleasant was not the peaceful town it appeared to be. It was a place where nightmares walked among us, hidden in plain sight. And that night I came face to face with one of those nightmares. A creature that defied explanation, that challenged everything I believed about the world. This is my story. A tale of terror and mystery of a town where the line between reality and nightmare is blurred. Welcome to Point Pleasant, where nightmares began. I dismissed it as fatigue, just the fog playing tricks on my eyes, but deep down a shiver crawled up my spine. The fog was getting thicker, rolling in from the river like a suffocating blanket. Visibility dropped to barely a few feet. Then I heard it, a high-pitched screech like nails on a chalkboard. It sent chills down my spine, raising goosebumps on my arms. I grabbed my torch, the beam cutting through the fog like a weak beacon in the darkness. "Hello?" My voice sounded thin and shaky, even to my own ears. There was no answer, only the sound of my own heart pounding in my chest. And then I saw them, two glowing red eyes burning in the fog. The eyes stared at me, unblinking, filled with an intelligence that made my blood run cold. They were huge, at least the size of dinner plates, and glowed with an unnatural intensity. Fear, primal and suffocating, gripped me in its icy claws. The screeching came again, closer this time, and the shape in the fog shifted. It was massive, easily the size of a man, with huge bat-like wings folded behind it. The Mothman. The stories, the legends flashed through my mind. This was no ordinary creature. This was something else entirely, something evil. I stumbled back, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the torch. The eyes advanced, floating closer, and I knew I had to get out of there. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I scrambled back into the guard shack, slamming the door shut and fumbling with the lock. The screeching was deafening now, echoing through the fog, and I could hear the heavy thud of its footsteps approaching the shack. I threw my weight against the door, praying the flimsy lock would hold. The doorknob rattled violently, and I could hear the creature snarling on the other side. It was trying to get in. I had to get help. I had to warn someone. But who would believe me? Who would believe in the Mothman? I managed to escape that night, fleeing into the darkness with the image of those red eyes burned into my memory. The forest was a maze of shadows and whispers, each step echoing with the sound of my own frantic heartbeat. I could feel the presence of something sinister behind me, its gaze piercing through the thick veil of night. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent shivers down my spine, urging me to run faster, to escape the unseen terror that pursued me. I told my story, but people just shook their heads and muttered about the fog and one too many whiskeys. They gathered around, their faces a mix of pity and skepticism, as I recounted the harrowing details. The fog, they said, played tricks on the mind. It was just a figment of my imagination, a product of fear and fatigue. But I knew better. I had seen those eyes, felt their malevolent intent. Their dismissive glances only fueled my frustration. They called me crazy. Maybe they were right, but deep down I couldn't shake the feeling that I was the only one who truly understood the danger lurking in the shadows. Their words stung, but they couldn't erase the vivid memories etched into my mind. I was left alone with my thoughts, questioning my own sanity, yet clinging to the truth I had witnessed. But I knew what I saw, I knew what I heard, the whispers in the wind, the eerie glow of those eyes. They were real. I spent countless nights replaying the events in my mind, trying to make sense of the inexplicable. The more I thought about it, the more convinced I became that something otherworldly was at play. It wasn't just a figment of my imagination, it was a glimpse into a world beyond our understanding, and I knew that something evil was lurking in the fog, watching, waiting. The fog seemed to have a life of its own, swirling and shifting as if it were a living entity. It concealed the malevolent force that had haunted me, hiding it from the prying eyes of the world. I could feel its presence, a cold, unrelenting gaze that followed me wherever I went. It was a constant reminder that I was never truly alone. The nightmares started soon after. Each night I was plunged into a world of terror, where the red eyes and the bone-chilling screech of the Mothman haunted my dreams. I would wake up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding, the echoes of my own screams ringing in my ears. Sleep became a battleground, a place where my fears came to life and tormented me relentlessly. Vivid, terrifying dreams of glowing red eyes and the bone-chilling screech of the Mothman. The creature's presence was so real, so palpable, that I could almost feel its breath on my skin. It was as if the boundary between dreams and reality had blurred, leaving me trapped in a perpetual state of fear. The Mothman became a symbol of my torment, a relentless pursuer that I could never escape. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My body was wasting away, consumed by the relentless fear that gnawed at my soul. Every meal tasted like ash. Every attempt at rest was thwarted by the nightmares that awaited me. I was a shadow of my former self, a prisoner of my own mind, trapped in a cycle of terror and despair. The fear was consuming me. It seeped into every aspect of my life, leaving me a trembling wreck. I could no longer distinguish between reality and the horrors that plagued my mind. The red eyes were everywhere, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of my perception. I was losing myself piece by piece to the overwhelming terror that had taken hold of me. I started seeing the red eyes everywhere, in the shadows, in the reflections, even in the faces of the people I passed on the street. They were always there, watching, waiting for the moment to strike. I became paranoid, constantly looking over my shoulder, expecting the Mothman to emerge from the darkness at any moment. The world around me had become a twisted nightmare, a place where danger lurked in every corner. I was losing my mind. The line between reality and madness had blurred, leaving me in a state of perpetual confusion. I could no longer trust my own senses, my own thoughts. The world had become a chaotic, terrifying place, and I was its unwilling prisoner. I knew I had to find a way out, to reclaim my sanity before it was too late. I had to find out the truth. I couldn't live like this, trapped in a never-ending cycle of fear and doubt. I needed answers, needed to understand what was happening to me. The forest, the fog, the red eyes, they held the key to my salvation. I had to confront the darkness, to face the Mothman and uncover the truth that lay hidden in the shadows. I had to know I wasn't crazy. My sanity depended on it. I needed to prove to myself and to the world that what I had seen was real. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but I was determined to find the answers I sought. The whispers of madness would not claim me. I would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The bridge to nowhere. They say the Mothman appears before tragedy, a harbinger of doom. I scoffed at the stories, dismissed them as old wives' tales, until the bridge collapsed. The Silver Bridge, they called it, a symbol of hope connecting Point Pleasant to the outside world. It crumbled into the icy river, taking with it the lives of 46 innocent souls. They never found some of the bodies. The whispers started again, blaming the Mothman, blaming the creature I had seen that night. I knew then that I couldn't ignore this any longer. I had to find answers, even if it meant facing my worst fears. Haunted by the unknown. The very phrase sends shivers down my spine. It's not just a title, it's a reality that has consumed my life. I dedicated my life to uncovering the truth about the Mothman. This enigmatic creature, shrouded in mystery, has been the subject of countless tales and legends. But I needed more than stories. I needed evidence. I read every article, every witness account, every scrap of information I could find. From old newspaper clippings to obscure books, I left no stone unturned. Each piece of information was a puzzle piece, slowly forming a picture of something far more terrifying than I had ever imagined. I traveled to Point Pleasant, talked to the locals, listened to their stories. The town itself seemed to hold its breath, as if it were a living entity aware of the dark secrets it harbored. The people were wary, their eyes darting nervously as they spoke. Some dismissed me as a crackpot, but others, their eyes filled with a haunted look, shared my fear. They spoke in hushed tones, as if the very air around them could betray their secrets. Their fear was palpable, a living, breathing thing that clung to them. They told me about strange lights in the sky, unexplained animal deaths, and eerie occurrences that defied logic. These weren't just isolated incidents, they were part of a larger, more sinister pattern. The chilling screech that echoed through the night was a common thread in their stories. It was a sound that seemed to pierce the very soul, leaving an indelible mark on those who heard it. They told me about the men in black, mysterious figures who appeared out of nowhere, their presence as unsettling as the phenomena they were investigating, government agents who descended on the town after the bridge collapsed, silencing anyone who dared to speak out. Their arrival only deepened the mystery, adding layers of conspiracy and cover-up to an already perplexing enigma. The locals were terrified. Their fear, not just of the unknown, but of the very real consequences of speaking out. The more I delved into the mystery, the more I realized that this was not just a tale of a mythical creature, but a story of human fear and the lengths to which people would go to keep the truth hidden. The more I learned, the more convinced I became that there was something truly sinister at play, something that went beyond human comprehension. It was as if the Mothman was just the tip of the iceberg, a harbinger of something far more malevolent. As I stood at the edge of the foggy forest, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was on the brink of uncovering a truth that was both terrifying and profound. The mist seemed to whisper secrets, urging me to continue my quest, no matter the cost. Facing my demons, the nightmares still haven't stopped. Every time I close my eyes, I see those red eyes, hear that deafening screech, but I won't be silenced. I won't let fear control me. I have to warn people, have to tell them that we are not alone. There is something out there, something watching us from the shadows, something that may strike again. The Mothman's legacy. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Keep your eyes open. Listen to the whispers on the wind, and if you see a shadow in the fog with glowing red eyes, run. Do you believe in the Mothman? Share your thoughts in the comments below.